Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
This is the Roger Stone Show, presented by Colonial Metals Group.
A man who's gone through hell, but he's kept going, and he's smart, and he's strong, and people love him. Not everybody, but people love him and respect him. Roger Stone.
Now, here's Roger Stone.
And we're back. Joining me now, it is my great privilege and honor to have Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis. She is serving her third term representing New York's 11th Congressional District, which is part of Staten Island and parts of southern Brooklyn. The Congresswoman is a member of the House Committee on Ways and Means, and throughout her entire tenure, she has been a fighter for the taxpayers. She's been focused on making America's cities safe again, securing our southern border, tackling inflation to strengthen our economy, and unleashing America's energy potential. As a previous member of the House Committee on Foreign Affairs, Congresswoman Malliotakis has been a strong voice for American values overseas, reducing our reliance on China and against the spread of communism in Central and South America. There's so many things I want to ask the Congresswoman about today, but we're very honored to have her join us now. Congresswoman, welcome to the show.
It's great to be with you, Roger. Thanks for having me.
You have been very active on an issue that is very near and dear to my heart. You had a great piece very recently in the New York Post where you pointed out that the drive by Donald Trump and his DOGE operation have elevated the problem of wasteful spending from just being think tank white papers to a national cover story. With the country $36 trillion in national debt, that's more than $300,000 per taxpayer. Well, there's a lot of spending to slash. But you point out that a good way to start is the ability to cut $20 billion the government wastes every year with these cruel, inhumane, so-called scientific experiments that torture dogs, cats, and other animals. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me on to talk about this, because we're both animal lovers, and I think that there are a lot of listeners out there who love animals, and they'd be shocked to know that the federal government spends billions of dollars every year funding unnecessary and cruel experiments that utilize cats, dogs, monkeys, and other animals. And when you drill down and actually look into what exactly these experiments are, there really is not a scientific purpose. It's almost as if they're having fun torturing these poor animals. And we recently stopped an experiment that the Veterans Affairs was doing on cats, and they were drilling the skulls of these cats, believe it or not. And there were other experiments that Dr. Fauci and NIH were doing on beagles that were very cruel, infesting them with insects and bugs, and really making them live a horrible, horrible existence. And one of the ones that have recently gotten some attention, which I brought up at a DOGE meeting right after the election, before the Trump administration was even sworn in. This was actually one related to hormone therapy of monkeys. They were trying to change the gender, transgender hormone therapy on monkeys. So it's really ludicrous what we're seeing, and this is just not happening here in the United States. The government's been funding these types of experiments overseas, including in countries with subpar safety conditions, including communist China. And we want to have an end to it. And so I'm going to be introducing legislation this week that prohibits the funding of domestic and foreign animal testing experiments like the ones that I've just described.
I so admire you for taking on this fight. I've just read in your piece about the $5 million that the National Institute of Health is squandering to inject beagles with cocaine. The $770,000 that NIH used to ship to Russia, to a Russian lab, the cats who have had their spinal cords severed and then forced them to run on treadmills. And then $1 million spent to spin kittens around for motion sickness experiments. Pardon me if I don't see the scientific value of any of this. It is outrageous, and my hat is off to you for detailing all of this in a congressional briefing last month that shows that over 60,000 dogs and cats are still locked in American labs. This must be stopped. Congresswoman Malliotakis, how do we go about this?
Yeah, well, we think the number is actually much higher. The number of animals that are in captivity. It's become a business for these breeders that sell these animals to the government, and it's a real shame. So I think what we need to do to go about it is, well, as I said, we were able to end some experiments and stop some experiments from taking place just by being vocal, just about, when we write these op-eds, when we go out there and we talk about it, we were able to put the pressure for them to stop some. But we really need to pass legislation, and that's why, I think my bill would go a real long way, and it would complement another bill that I have that would allow for these animals to be released from these facilities and transition into adoption into loving homes. And so I think if we're able to get the President Trump's administration, to go back to the policy that they had, right? So in his first term, President Trump actually put in a plan to transition and phase out animal testing. Unfortunately, when Joe Biden came in, he reversed it. And really, we lost years in the process of being able to stop this. But now I feel like there is, and it's because of people like you, it's because of people like Lara Trump, people who have been out there, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Eli Crane and Stubbe from Florida. These members have all been highlighting this cruel inhumanity against these animals. And I think we really have an opportunity here with DOGE to go in there and just strip this funding so we're not sending money overseas for this animal cruelty. And when we end it here, and think about it, like how far science has come. We don't need to be doing these experiments, even if there was the scientific purpose. As you related, a lot of this is nonsense and it's cruel. There's really no scientific purpose. But even if there was for pharmaceuticals or whatever, there's ability now with with cells, with AI, to be able to do this without this cruel experimentation. We also, by the way, have a bill. We hope Robert F. Kennedy Jr. will take a look at this because he'll be overall overseeing the FDA. That would end the requirement for animal testing for cosmetics. This is a no-brainer. Why? The cosmetics industry wants to end it, and the animal rights community wants to end it. So why are we still doing this? You have the private sector and the nonprofit agreeing that this is the humane thing to do to move forward, yet the FDA requires these types of animal tests oftentimes for certain cosmetic products. So we have legislation with my friend Representative Buchanan of Florida, Vern Buchanan, to end that as well. And we hope we'll be able to get some traction with the new chairman that has taken over the Energy and Commerce Committee this year.
I'm very proud of the work that I've done as a volunteer for the White Coat Waste Project. I know you have worked closely with them as well. I was shocked to read in your piece that the NIH is still funding 26 animal testing laboratories in China, several of which are linked to the Chinese military and government. The agency recently paid one lab in China more than $2 million to force feed and inject puppies and other animals with experimental drugs. And although the U.S. Intelligence Committee is concerned about China's development and use of bioweapons, the Biden-Harris administration for agriculture was collaborating with the Wuhan Institute of Virology's Chinese Communist Party-run parent organization on a $1 million U.S. taxpayer-funded bird flu gain-of-function project that is still slated to run until 2026. After the Wuhan lab's work led to COVID and the Chinese government refused to cooperate with investigations into that, this U.S.-funded animal test has to end now. No animal labs in China should receive another red cent of taxpayers' money, as you so eloquently said in your piece in the New York Post. This goes well beyond politics. I don't care whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, whether you're non-political. No one can favor these cruel, inhumane, vicious attacks on the most vulnerable animals, mostly primates, dogs, cats, monkeys, and so on. I'm so proud of you for taking on this fight. We're going to talk about this and more when we come back. If you're just tuning in, we're talking to Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis of Staten Island, and this is The Roger Stone Show. So don't go away. We'll be right back with the Congresswoman to talk about this vital issue and a lot more. Don't touch that dial.
Now, it's time for Protecting Your Future, sponsored by Colonial Metals Group. Here's Roger Stone.
In these turbulent times, with Elon Musk and Doge uncovering not millions, not billions, but trillions in waste, fraud, and corruption, with the Federal Reserve printing money like it's going out of style, with a national debt in the trillions and unsustainable, and with Democrats fighting spending cuts and layoffs in the courts, there is no better time to protect your future, protect your retirement by acquiring precious metals like gold and silver. You can use your own IRA, your 401k. I urge you to go immediately to the folks that I trust. That's the Colonial Metals Group. You can find out more by going to colonialmetalsgroup.com/stone or freegoldguide.com/stone. You'll be glad you did.
This is The Roger Stone Show.
How does PwC take your company to the leading edge? They bring the sharpest minds in tech to your team, so you can bring the ideas that will transform your business. They're passionate about your industry, so you can walk into any room with every advantage. And they're with you every step of the way, so you can know you're headed in the right direction. PwC builds for what's next, so you can get there now. Get started at pwc.com/us/leading edge. This episode is brought to you by Loom by Atlassian. Are you feeling stuck at work? Get your team unstuck with Loom video messaging and move work forward. Use Loom to simultaneously record both your screen and yourself to share a quick update, provide feedback, train a colleague, and everything in between. Plus, add Loom AI to your meetings for instant written notes and recordings. Try Loom today at Loom.com. That's LOOM.com.
This episode is brought to you by GMC. GMC certified service technicians are factory trained to fit your vehicle with the tires specifically developed for it. And with our tire price match guarantee, you get the best fit for the best deal. Let us do the work. Available on select eligible tire brands at participating dealers only. Offer ends 12/31/2025. Terms apply. See dealer for complete details. Visit gmc.com/service to learn more.
Impact confirmed. The Slayer has been activated.
Demonic threat level increasing.
Hold the line!
All the power of hell cowering before one man.
id Software presents Doom, The Dark Ages. Available now on Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, and PC.
Rated M for mature.
Richard Nixon, Ronald Reagan, George W. Bush, and Donald Trump.
They went after a guy named Roger Stone who's sitting in the office. And I'll say this in front of Roger, he's no baby. And right now he's cleaner than anybody in this place. No, they treated him very unfairly.
All of these presidents relied on one man to secure their seat in the Oval Office. That man is Roger Stone.
Roger Stone.
This is the Roger Stone Show, presented by Colonial Metals Group. Now, here's Roger Stone.
And we're back with Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis as our guest. Prior to her service in Congress, the Congresswoman spent 5 terms in the New York State Assembly, where she fought to restore ethics in Albany, expand transit service in her district, improve programs for senior citizens, reform education, and better New York's economic climate, all the while helping her community rebuild after Hurricane Sandy. Congresswoman Malliotakis is the daughter of immigrants. Her father came from Greece, and she's a great favorite of my wife because, well, her mother came from Cuba. So my wife and the Congresswoman share that ethnicity, and both of them are opponents of the harsh regime in Cuba. She's also, as we've discussed today, a passionate advocate for animal rights and the strengthening of animal cruelty laws. I want to talk to you, Congresswoman, about the situation in the House. I personally am a big fan and a strong supporter of Speaker Mike Johnson. I don't agree with everything he does. No one in politics ever agrees with anything anyone does. But I think he has this extraordinarily difficult job. The Republicans control the House by, I believe it is 218 to 215. But there are 2 vacant seats in the state of Florida where Matt Gaetz resigned, and Mike Waltz, one of the president's very best appointees, resigned to become National Security Advisor. That leaves us with, I believe, a 1-vote majority. Your colleague, Elise Stefanik, an excellent choice for UN ambassador, has delayed her resignation from the House, and I believe until the special election takes place in April, when both of the seats in Florida are expected to go to Republicans. But the Speaker has a very difficult job. He has to cobble together a majority for anything he wants to do. I think some Republicans make demands of him that are virtually impossible. I love about him is his loyalty to the president, his optimism, and the fact that he works extraordinarily hard. How difficult is it under these circumstances to be a House Republican?
Well, there's no doubt that this is the slimmest majority that we've had in history, and it is extraordinarily difficult when you have people across the political spectrum trying to work together and build consensus. The real difficulty that we have right now is not just the slim majority in the House, but the fact that most pieces of legislation, including funding the budget, funding the government so to avoid a shutdown, requires 60 votes in the Senate. And so you still have to get 7 Democrats to come along in the Senate to pass anything. And that means we're going to be forced to compromise somehow with them. And then when you do that, you lose some of the members in the House. So it is really, really a difficult dynamic. And we'll see this actually play out in 2 weeks because the government funding will run out by then. And we'll have to figure out how, the Speaker's going to have to figure out what the game plan will be for us to avoid a government shutdown, but also get a conservative funding mechanism through that reflects what a Republican trifecta should without giving the Democrats too much, but still getting their 7 votes in the Senate that are needed. So it is a really, really interesting dynamic. We are living history right now. And as you know, there's so many other things happening. We have the budget reconciliation that's coming. I'm as a member of the House Ways and Means Committee. I'm particularly concerned to ensure that, we have enough leeway in our committee to implement President Trump's tax policies, and that means not just extending the Tax Cut and Jobs Act provisions that were very good for our economy, and as you know, brought unemployment down to record lows, particularly for minorities. It created millions of jobs. It lifted millions of families out of poverty. It doubled the child tax credit, doubled the standard deduction, lowered the tax rate, income tax across the board, and helped really jumpstart our economy and repatriate some manufacturing jobs because of the lower corporate rate. And so we want to extend all that, but we also want to deliver on President Trump's commitment on lowering taxes for seniors, excluding tips from taxation, making sure that we get a 15% bonus rate for new manufacturing facilities to make in America again. And, of course, in New York, we're going to be looking for an increase to the SALT deduction. So we want to be able to do all that, and we got to figure out a resolution that will reflect that, because this is obviously too important for the future of our economy and helping middle-class families that deserve to see some of the savings we're finding right now put back in their pockets.
I should note that there is a dispute over one seat. That would be Florida's 14th district, where the declared victory of Kathy Castor is being seriously challenged and being challenged in the relevant House committee with overwhelming evidence of voter fraud in that election. It'll be interesting to see what the House elects to do. As you know, the House rules do make the House the final arbiter, the final decider as to who has been legitimately elected. That is a question that must be looked at very carefully. Also, interestingly, you have a member of the House, Henry, I always misspell his name, I think it's Henry Cuellar.
Cuellar.
Yes, correct, Cuellar, thank you, who's under indictment with his wife in a Menendez-type situation, 14 counts of corruption. He is expected to resign and as a part of a plea bargain deal. This, interestingly enough, the 28th District of Texas is the district once held by Lyndon Baines Johnson. The Republican candidate, Commander Josh Furman, only lost by 4 points in the last election in a race that was not targeted. So those two races need to be watched. They could increase our slim majority. I want to thank Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis for joining us today. God bless you in your efforts to fight for the animals, and thank you so much for joining us on The Roger Stone Show.
Thank you, Roger. Great to be with you.
Folks, Elon Musk and President Donald Trump want to inspect the gold that's in Fort Knox, billions of dollars of it. When we come back, Paul Stone, the chief executive officer of Colonial Metals Group, is going to talk to us about that and why he thinks gold is a big part of the answer to our current economic problems. So whatever you do, don't touch that dial. This is The Roger Stone Show, and we'll be right back.
There's no